Okay. Good morning, everybody. Again, for those early comers, thank you for being here early. Please, for those that aren't familiar with using Zoom, there are reactions or emotes that I'll be using. So if you want to ask a question, if you can find the reaction, you can put a hand up. It will stay up until I take it down. Or if you retract your question, you can also remove the hand. Also, if there's things that you like, please give me a thumbs up or one of the other emotes. Those won't stay up permanently. Those will come down after a little while. I will try to engage with you on chat. I know when I full screen or put presenter mode on my PowerPoint, I may not be able to see the chats, but when I minimize, I'll be able to catch up and see if there were any questions that were asked. Please go ahead if there are people in the chat that have the answers to the questions or have resources, links, etc., that you want to add to the chat, please go ahead and do that. This is kind of, I want to see it as more of a workshop than just a pure presentation, because I hate to be the one that talks throughout and not getting any of your feedback, because I also want to be learning with you. I don't just want this to be a one-sided process. So yes, please, I will give opportunities if you want to unmute yourself at certain points and ask your questions. That's great. I will try and point you out by name or descriptor if you put your hand up, and then you will be able to unmute yourself and we can you can ask your question. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to I don't know if it's better to turn off my video. Some people have limited streaming. Let's say I'll leave it on for now. Some people like to see who it is that they're listening to. And also I'm quite animated, so maybe it'll be a little bit more of a entertainment factor for you. I will try to stick to the script. Yes, there is a script, but I will also be trying to keep it as loose and fluid. So if there are engagements that you want to ask questions, etc., like I previously said, then I will try and engage with you with that. Please, if you can, be great if you just start on the chat, maybe put in your name, put in where you're from, and what you're excited about within the course. Also, if you're new to ChatGPT or any of the AI tools, it'd be great to see how many newbies maybe are only just starting to use the tools now or have never used the tools before, because it is a brave new world and we are only just beginning. So, okay, so let me just put up my presentation. Oh, I need to also share screen. Let me go. Yeah. Yes, that's one here. Great. Okay, so let me, please tell me if at any point in time you can't hear me or you can't hear the sound to the video or anything like that, and then we will stop and try to troubleshoot that, because as we know, there are always gremlins, and we try and make it as smooth as possible, but we can't plan for everything. So let me just go into present mode. Can everybody, okay, let's just check. Can everybody hear me clearly? Can I get a thumbs up? I can't adjust my volume, particularly on this side. So if you can adjust just your volume on that side, it'd be great. Can I get any thumbs up from anybody? Let me know you're alive. Anybody? I'm not seeing, there's a thumbs up. Awesome. Great. And can anybody put just something into the chat box? I just want to know that you guys can access the chat box and that, again, you're not just an AI, although an AI would answer me as well. Scary enough. Okay, great. Thank you. So now I can put on the presentation mode. Oh, everything's a little slow because I'm sharing and it's struggling. Okay, let's get this on the road. Okay, can everybody see the screen that says improving your library through AI? I just need to know that you can see not the complicated side that has my notes, but the more, okay, great. I've got another thumbs up, so I can start immediately. Great, cool. Okay, so good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to our first Power Hour this year, where we empower you with the knowledge and tools to make your work much easier. My name is Donovan McDonald. I am the Creative Officer for UKS. And for those that don't know, UKS is the partner for, or the partner for innovative solutions. No matter if it's hardware or software you might need, and particularly we're talking about library spaces, but we're not limited to library spaces. If there's business sound opportunity to help, we will go out of our way to source it locally and abroad. And for those that are existing clients, you will know we have international suppliers from all over the place that do everything from robotics to the software. And these are some of the products I will mention going through the presentation. So also just looking at today's topic, what I want to look at is leveraging AI tools for librarians. I understand that some of you may not be librarians, but AI tools are useful no matter what industry you're in. And that is why it is well, it's disrupting the world at large, because it can be used in the simplest functioning through to the more advanced automation in giant corporations and factories. So yes, so leverage our tools in library for librarians, enhancing efficiencies and community engagement. And we'll elaborate on each of these things and how they tie together as we go through the presentation. Cool, just checking chats. Okay, great. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so we decided, because there would be many speakers over the next short while covering AI from top down, or more from the theoretical to the technical basis. I know there are a lot of conferences happening with a lot of AI speakers. I don't claim to be a specialist in the AI field. I just know what I've experienced, and I keep my ear to the ground to see what is new developments and how easy and accessible the tools are for everybody. And that is what I'm going to be covering in this presentation now. So taking this into account, we decided to focus on these 2 points: importance of libraries and library spaces, and what that means to everybody, and then how AI improves these library spaces. And I don't only mean as in the library space of work itself, so the external, but also the internal, because these tools can be made usable day to day, as I'll be covering, which improves your work-life balance, etc. Practicing what we preach, we have followed the steps which we will describe and demonstrate through this presentation. So as we go through the presentation, you will notice that topics we speak about and ways of going about gathering the information and producing the presentation are all followed throughout the presentation and the workshop that we are doing. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please raise a hand and I will try to attend to you as soon as I'm able. I don't see any raised hands at the moment, so we're good. The 2 focus points we thought to look at today, I've already covered. The idea behind today's talk is also to inspire and a workshop. As I've said to the early arrivers or the early birds, I don't want this just to be a one-sided exchange. I would like questions to be asked and answered in the chat box if you have the knowledge available, or if you want to add to somebody else's question. And yes, any hands that go up, I will try to attend to, and any thumbs up will be great motivation that I'm on the right track when it comes to assisting you. Okay. Cool. So this is the exciting part, the importance of library and library spaces. So I know this has been covered many, many times in different ways. This is going to be explored through the AI ChatGPT generation prompting, all these kinds of things that we'll be covering further down the line. But I'm a visual person, I'm a creative officer, so I love to see things that engage people's imaginations and get you to explore maybe the unspoken topics. I don't know if maybe some of you want to just explore or explain what catches your eye, something that you find exciting, something that you see as maybe thought-provoking with any of the images. Now would be a great time to just, who would be the first person to start the engagement from your side? I'll just look, and anybody in the visitors box? No, everybody's still shy. No, still nobody. Okay, I'm not going to delay too long. I'm going to move on to other things. There is still opportunity at any point in time to engage with me and engage with the other visitors that are here for the workshop. Okay, so one of the things that stuck out for me, or one of the questions that must be asked, is what will libraries look like in the future? And a great question that follows that is, will it be a physical space? I think at the moment we all have the idea, or fighting with the idea. As many people want to record this, great, go ahead. You won't be able to share it on social media because some of the videos and stuff we don't have rights to monetize or share specifically. You'll notice that there are watermarks on some of the things. But it's because this is a workshop, and it's because we're exploring accessible, free resources that anybody can use, easy resources that anybody can access. So I'm just putting that caveat in there, or the T's and C's. But yes, back to the questions. So yes, so the first image is, libraries in the future. What do they look like? Are they a physical space? The second one is it all about community engagement? It's a big go-to when it comes to libraries. What is their functionality? What is their goal, purpose, future value, etc. So it is also, it's always an important question to go, if community engagement is the goal, how do we enhance it? How do we multiply, and how do we bring communities back into, if there is a physical space, the physical space? Next question is Tech Hub. So Tech Hub with question mark. How will that work? What technologies are still to come? How do we ready ourselves for the event horizon? For those that don't know the phrase, event horizon is something that you cannot predict, or something that you cannot see beyond. So what is it that we can plan for now to lay the foundation for future technologies that is obviously cost effective and is also understanding of where communities and libraries may be going? Any questions so far? Anything in the chat box? I don't see any questions yet. I don't see any hands up or thumbs up. So please be preemptive. I'm going to move, if there isn't anything at the end of a section, I'm going to move on quite quickly. Like I said, I would like to get to demoing some of the technologies that I'm talking about. And this is just an introductory light, if you want to call it that, touching on AI and ChatGPT, etc. So yes, so and then I'll move on. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Oh, then it went away. There we go. Okay, cool. So can I get a thumbs up or any other reaction to anybody that is new to ChatGPT? It doesn't need to be any specific version, but anybody that has never heard of it, or even anybody who has never maybe used it in your day-to-day emailing, articles, presentations, any of that kind of stuff. Can I get a thumbs up from anybody? No, no. Looks like you're all proficient in ChatGPT. Okay, great. So just checking. Okay, no. Okay, great. Okay, so this is yeah. So let's break down what ChatGPT is. For most people, they may use ChatGPT, but they don't actually know what it is or what it does or how it works. So go from the top. AI-powered conversation model. So the way it's structured is that you ask it questions as if it was another person. You can give it commands. You can just tell it to do stuff. And we'll cover later on why having the conversation and speaking to it as a human is actually more valuable, because the outcome is richer with information and is more accurate. Then we've got state-of-the-art natural language processing. So again, something that we'll cover later on is that there are algorithms that are built in to understand what are you asking by how you're asking it. And this is through many, many hours of crunching numbers and crunching conversations that have been had, that have been farmed. And that is how it gets to the outcome that it gets to. Human likes text responses based on the input. Surely, if it is able to understand tone and understand by what choice of words are being used, that it can regurgitate or it can mirror what it is that how it's being spoken to. And that is exactly what ChatGPT does. It will try and make it as pleasant as possible. So if you do get angry with it, and yes, people do get angry with it, and frustrated, is that it will try and be as pleasant as it can be in a response. It will apologize. It will try even change its responses. And that also creates certain problems further down the line, which we will discuss in a bit. Suggestions of a wide range of topics. So the way it does that is the main model was used to collect information across the internet. Similar to how your websites and stuff use spiders to, and I won't go into the tech, like why they're called spiders, but there's programs that go in and collect information to see if your website is valuable. So this program does similar things, and it was looking for patterns, so that when you asked a specific question, it went, oh, this question has been asked so many times, this is the result. And we'll get into the limitations of the ChatGPT 3.5 and the new ChatGPT in a little bit. But yes, basically there are reasons why ChatGPT 3.5 is better than the ChatGPT 4, and we'll some of that later. If I do forget, please remind me. I do remember it being in one of the slides, so we will cover that later. Contextual relevant responses, as I've mentioned, if you ask it certain questions in a certain way, it'll go, this is how other people have responded to the question that's been asked, and therefore it will give you what has been responded, and there are good and bad reasons or results for that. Customize and integrate into various applications and platforms to enhance user experience. So if I go back to my notes, it's actually quite an important point, this, because it can be used for visually impaired people, etc. And there is real world examples that I will give you where it can be through a bridging program. It can be programmed into your Alexa, which is, for people that don't know, it's a speaker system that lives in your house that you can ask it to change your TV channels. You can ask it questions like to Google certain responses. And yes, so this basically, the ChatGPT has the ability to hold a conversation with you. So you don't need people anymore to go slightly crazy or to get the voices out of your head. You can now talk to ChatGPT and it will respond to you, even to the point where it can, and I won't say it does it as well as a counselor or as well as a psychologist, but it can counsel you to a certain degree if you're needing affirmations or you're needing some form of acknowledgement that you maybe aren't going crazy. So, but yes, so that can be put into your Alexa, it can be put into your smart TV even, and it is being used for other programs, which we will mention later on. It's built in through some programming, through some smart programming, where it is preemptive, and like your spell check that autocorrects or can finish a sentence for you. This is now being written into even Microsoft Office and things like that, where you'll no longer need think of the program now, the one that Grammarly, the one that is built in to correct your spelling and your grammar and all that kind of stuff, and it's great for your assignments. Yes, now this everybody is creating in some level their own AI and building it into their software. Even now, I saw PowerPoint, not PowerPoint, Zoom have an AI that can take minutes for the meetings and share out the minutes afterwards. I just saw when somebody signed in that it asked if the AI could record. And basically that is exactly what the AI is doing, is taking minutes for the person that is either, I hope they're in this meeting or this presentation. But if they're not, they can go back to the minutes, even if they don't have the recording. And yeah, there are other softwares like, I think it's Firefly. I've been in meetings before where afterwards it tells you how many questions were asked, how many responses or solutions were provided, etc. So it's a quality control AI that picks up every, I suppose, inclination or any. There's another AI. I'm crazy. I think we've got 3-4 AI now that are recording this. So well done for those people that are ahead of the game. But yes, that's just some of the things that the AI can do. Okay, not to spend too much more time on that, let's move on to the next thing. On my screen. Again, any questions, any thumbs up, anybody, everybody's still awake, everybody's still engaged. So as was covered previously, one of the things is that it is a state-of-the-art natural language processing coding or software, if you want to call it that. And this is a great example for understanding ChatGPT. So when I asked it initially how many languages it translates, it gave me most of the international languages. And I know for a fact, because somebody used it previously to do some of their kids' Afrikaans homework, translations and such. I said, but what about Afrikaans? And it went, apologies. Please, yeah, if you need to know the extent of more languages, please ask me again. And so I did. And so as you can see, there are now many African languages that have been added because it extended the original list that it gave me to include Afrikaans and some of the local languages. I see there is a question. Mandas, can you unmute yourself and ask?
Thank you, Donovan. I want to ask something about the Afrikaans.
Yes.
Because I've used ChatGPT before for English, but how accurate is it? Because if you go to Google Translate, the Afrikaans is not translated correctly. So yes. Do you know how correct this is?
Sure. So it does take a fluent Afrikaans speaker to notice if it is making a couple of clinical, I suppose you call it, errors. It is very good from what I've heard for the average speaking individual or translating individual that maybe Afrikaans isn't their first language. But remembering that ChatGPT as a language program is continually learning. So if somebody can speak to it in Afrikaans, it is now taking what they're saying, because remember, it is farming the existing materials that are out there. And maybe there was a limited number of materials. For example, compared to European languages, I'm sure there's a minute amount and I'm exaggerating, but for Zulu speaking languages. So it is learning more from what it's being asked or spoken to in those languages than what it may be able to farm. And again, that's a good and bad thing, because it can pick up, and I'll just discuss it later, bad maybe ways of speaking, so maybe slang or something that is specific to a certain area. But if there is a concentration of that, the way it is spoken, it may change the way that it translates. So it blows people's minds to think about, but it is a fluid program, and I'll get into just now, where ChatGPT 4 and above struggle because it's open-ended, versus ChatGPT 3.5, which was stop farming or stop collecting information in 19. They haven't released information, but everybody works it out to about what is it, 2019 to 2020. And all it's doing now is taking the information it knows of and is actually applying it to all the questions and learning by what is being inputted by the living individual. So yes, it's a continually changing, adapting, I want to say organism, but that freaks people out, coding, where the information is, some of it's being lost because it's worked out that it's nobody's asking those questions, and for some people it's making it more prominent. And there are programs and there are actual task teams when it comes to ChatGPT-4, etc., and Bing, etc., that are carefully shaping the AI so that it doesn't become skewed. So I know I went off on a bit of a tangent, but I'd say test it out. This is with everything, and I'll go into it a little further down the line, is test it out as an Afrikaans speaker, ask it something, or drop a article in English or any other language into it and ask it to translate, and then see. I know with everything, even English, once it's written an article, you have to go back and look at it, because it is known for repetition. If you haven't given it enough content, so you want a 3-page article, but you've only given it like a person, a place, and some other paragraph. So yes, so again, it's limited, but at the same time, it's quite expansive if you know what to ask it and when to ask it. But we'll get into that. Sorry, I jumped the gun a bit. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
See if I can turn up your hand. This thing is dragging. Sorry, my connection is a little bit. Oh, there we go. Cool. Okay, so no other questions. I can move on. Okay. Okay, great. So looking at the descriptor. Oh, I did jump a queue there. Okay, so let's look at what AI is. Hopefully I've given you a good feeling for what AI is, and also just kind of what it can do in the realm of language. Remember, AI is not limited by language. Everybody is doing language to video, language to other languages, language to voice, etc. But AI is, if I can say, wrongly applied as far as a descriptor. And I'm just going to go through some of the descriptions that are used kind of loosely, and kind of how they apply better than AI. So for those that don't know, AI is artificial intelligence. And we kind of jumped the queue, because what we are using at the moment is not artificial intelligence. It's not something that can think for itself. It's not something that will do something as free will. There has been the stories and the legends of 2 language programs or translation programs that got to the point where they figured out that to translate between themselves, they would create a third language. Yes, this does exist, but it's not actually a third language, and they didn't actually do it because they thought it was a good idea. It just made sense from the code side that it created a shorthand to jump between the two languages or the two translators to get the job done quicker. So I don't know, that can be debated whether that is artificial intelligence. But yes, from the people that strictly adhere to what artificial intelligence is, we haven't gotten there yet. For some people, they're very thankful for that. Okay, so just looking at machine intelligence. So again, it's mechanical. You're looking at something that has cause and effect, or something that you put something in to get something out. Then you got computational intelligence, again, similar kind of thing. Now you're just looking at the coding side of it, or even numeric coding and things. So for example, an really complicated Excel sheet would be something you would consider as computational intelligence. Synthetic intelligence, again, is something that can imitate intelligence, but it doesn't have a need, doesn't have a want, doesn't do anything unless it has been designed to do specifically that. Deep learning, that's something a little bit different. So that you give it a moonshot task, you have the basic coding, and you let it run riot until it gets to a certain point. The way deep learning, and again, I'm not a specialist in the field, is it will come up with multiple results and ask for you to acknowledge which is closest to what you want. And that is how it learns. It doesn't know to go, this is a good answer, or this is a bad answer. At certain stages or milestones, it will go through, and it will then need human interaction to say, yes, continue, or no, backstep, and try again with added information applied. Neural networking, similar kind of thing, where it's taking information from multiple places, and it's putting it in a boiling pot, if you call it that, and it's churning out a result. It is very similar to what ChatGPT does, where it takes multiple sources, and that is why when you ask it, and yes, you can ask it, and yes, it will answer as accurately as it can. It will tell you that this is a unique answer that it hasn't given out to anybody else. And the reason for that is because every time it asks a question, it recalculates the result, and it gives you something that has changed since the last time it was asked that question, because the information that it's been gathering is also changing. Autonomous systems, again, you can set it on a task and it will run its course, but it will run its course to the point where it just stops because it doesn't know to continue to avoid something. So your autonomous cars, for example, they are programmed to follow certain routes. They don't know if something interacts with it that it hasn't been programmed to interact with, what to do with that, which is why they would have those accidents happening, or cars running off the road, or just stopping. And there's certain traps for the AI. I use AI loosely, but yeah, where there are ways of tricking it because it doesn't know any better. So there are ways like hackers. There are ways for people to work within the system to make it go right. Expert systems, again, it's something that it only knows as much as it knows because it's being fed the information. There are expert systems like lawyers are using at the moment, where they have a referencing database where they put it into the artificial intelligence or expert system, and it will spit out what are your best arguments to win the case. More and more lawyers are using the system, because hey, if you've got a one lawyer that has the AI support and the other one that doesn't, it's most likely that the one is going to have the winning edge, I guess. Robotics intelligence, we kind of covered that already. Natural language processing, we covered that already. Computer vision, that's something a little different. They've been struggling with that for a while. They're getting better at it now, because what we see and what we experience as depth and what we experience as meaning of a specific shape or individual, for example, facial features and things, it didn't really understand. But now they're using it in like Japanese cities, where they can tell if somebody is going to rob somebody before it even happens. And they're using in boardrooms where they're looking at engagement levels just by facial features, etc. So as you come into the room, there is a camera in the corner, and it's becoming standard. It's kind of when you walk into a building, you've already signed away your personal identity and things like that. It's scary, but it's true. Then smart machinery, similar kind of thing, and automated intelligence. Again, nothing is automated as in it's going to do whatever it hasn't been told to do. It is still in its programming, and it will go to its best of its ability to complete the task. Okay, here's a perfect example of machine learning versus artificial intelligence. These are some of the products that knowledge management, that my company, Universal Knowledge Management, sell. This is for libraries specifically. If you guys haven't seen it, we displayed it a lot of our, when you go do displays, at Liesa, etc. And it will, what the librarian will do is, if they bought the product, it has its own charging station similar to those vacuums, the little vacuums that some of us might have. And you leave it overnight to map the library for itself. So it has programming built into it for avoidance. So it's not going to bump into anybody and not bump into any furniture. And it can be used on multiple floors because it's intelligent like that. It will use either ramps or lift, I'm not quite sure, but it allocates these as different areas. Anyway, so you leave it overnight, it will map the library for the library, and then it will start doing a stock take of all the books on the shelves. It can do it live, as it can do it while people are in the library, and it will avoid bumping into people. Or can do it overnight. And then what the library will do is go and look at which books are out of place on what shelves, because there is a virtual map that the robot has created for the librarian. This is very much machine learning, not artificial intelligence, or not anything that is higher than basic functioning of the scanning, mapping, and uploading to a database. Artificial intelligence, or what we consider artificial intelligence at the moment, is something that is continually evolving and continually learning. Either there's a greater database that it is drawing from, or growing database, as with ChatGPT 4, etc., and Bing, or it's limited, and like I said, with ChatGPT 3.5, it's using what questions are being asked, how it's being asked, to actually produce unique questions, unique answers. Okay, so I'm not going to, oh, and the other two little robots, there's one, if a robot, a library is under construction, the one with the little cute face, it will, because the library has been mapped, it can actually go into the construction site and collect the books for the patrons and bring them to the front desk. And the other one is just a book carrier that's similar to a factory automation. Once the librarian has placed all the books from collection and needs to go put onto the shelves, he can tell the runner where to go next. And it basically will take the books to that shelf. So that's those. Cool. Why now? Why is ChatGPT so, it's launched, it's gone kind of crazy, and it's gone into so many different industries. Why now? Okay, so this is a little bit more on the technical side. I'm going to run through this quite quickly. So the advancement in computer power, the exponential growth in computer power, coupled with the development of specialized hardware such as GPUs, or graphic processing units, and TPUs, tensor processing units, has enabled the training of complex AI models with large data sets more efficiently. Big data availability. The proliferation of digital data from various sources includes social media, sensors, and connecting devices has provided the fuel needed to train AI algorithms. The availability of vast amounts of labeled and unlabeled data has facilitated the development of more accurate, robust AI models. Yeah, I'm still watching the side, so at any point if you guys want to stop and ask me a question, I'm still looking at all the stuff. I do see some questions in the chat. I will get to them now. Just let me finish the slide and then I'll get to you guys. Breakthrough in machine learning algorithms. Researchers have made significant advancements in machine learning algorithms, particularly in deep learning techniques, such as neural networks. These algorithms have demonstrated remarkable capabilities in tasks such as image recognition, natural language processing, and speech recognition, leading to widespread adoption across industry. Open source communities and calibration. The open source communities have played a crucial role in democratizing AI by providing access to frameworks, libraries, and tools for developing and deploying AI applications. Platforms like TensorFlow, PyTorch, and Scikit-learn have allowed the barrier to entry for developers, have lowered the barrier to entry for developers and researchers, fostering innovation and collaboration in AI ecosystems. Investment and funding. So as we know, people are looking at opportunities to invest. The AI stocks have gone crazy through the roof because the potential is limitless. And we, as with automated cars, although that's taking a little bit longer, this is expanding so quickly. Yeah, that it would be crazy if you were investing not to have some part in that process, or at least not benefiting from. Practical applications and demonstrated value. So as we've seen, it's in, it probably is in PowerPoint now. It's actually in Office already, but it's in Zoom. It's in the program that I've used to build this. It's in the, sure, anything from the simplest thing to the more advanced thing, and we'll get into the more advanced things. I mean, the simpler things for you guys, but we can also talk about the more advanced things. And then advancements in natural language and processing. Overall, the coverage of these factors has fueled the rapid growth and adoption of AI in recent years, transforming industries, reshaping economies, and reshaping our daily lives in profound ways. And if you haven't seen it already, I'm sure it will be within your space quite soon. Okay, let me just see, no questions. Okay, cool. Let me just quickly look. Hi, and yes. So as far as, and again, we'll get to the pitfalls of ChatGPT. I'm just answering the question about citations and assignments. Yes, remembering ChatGPT, which is better at answering questions, is also limited. It has been limited because it stopped collecting information in 2020. So you will notice that the referencing is getting older and older. Also, ChatGPT, I suppose I can cover it now because it wasn't a question, but some of the links or references no longer exist. So even if you do a paper or you put a paper together, it is better that you rewrite it. Actually, there's no question about it. You do need to rewrite it, but it's a good start. It's a good place to look. Okay, I have no idea what to do with this topic or this subject. Ask it the question. Again, ask it in a unique way, because you need to, as an assignment, need to come out with ideally, a better answer than the marker has seen previously, because you really want to shoot the lights out. So yeah, and then referencing, you can ask it for the citation. It'll even build a reference, I want to say bibliography, or reference sheet at the end. So it can do the short citations in the article and it can do a longer one at the end. but it is always good to go and find the materials to validate that, because most of those are old. And like I said, as a UNISA student, I found and checked, and at least I'd say half of those references weren't valid. It may have gotten better, but yes, from my experience, I wouldn't rely on it too heavily. What else is there? Select languages in ChatGPT. What criteria was used to select languages? You mean as in what questions I asked to get the languages? All I said was, what languages do you translate to? And it gave me the initial list. And then I went, but what about Afrikaans? And it apologized. And then when I asked it again, it brought up the additional. So again, don't rely on its own understanding of its limitations. It could be shortening the answer to give you something that is relevant to the, like bring you to the point immediately. If you wanted to elaborate, it's always better to take what it's given you as an answer apart. So ask it question once it's given you, because it can do a lot of bullet points. Then ask it, break it down into the little bits and ask it, okay, what do you mean by this? Or where can I get more information on this? And it will give you that. Again, it's limited, so you can actually apply that question into Bing, which I haven't mentioned yet. But Bing is, if you Google Bing, you can go through to it, you sign in. It is also more advanced, and you can use, it's still free. So you can use a lot of the image generation and stuff just by word to image translation. But you can take it from ChatGPT initially, the answer that it gives you, because it gives you better answers, and take that through to Bing, and it will give you more relevant, more up-to-date answers. But you may need to go through it quite a bit, because it doesn't translate the way ChatGPT does, and it gives you all the information all at once, and it says, here, what do you want to do? Like pick something, and yeah, it's not intelligent in the way the original ChatGPT is. Okay, I find Google Gemini, Bard, data. Yes, exactly. So exactly, ChatGPT is limited, but now you have Google Bard, you have Bing, which is both a powerful search engine, plus it can convert words into images, and I think even videos, which I'll also display just now. But yes, I think that's there is always new, evolving, adaptive software out there, and I'm sure at some point, once everything is expanded and everybody has a unique offering, these will come together like Office, where you'll get bundles that will work and speak together and make your work function, day-to-day stuff even more efficient. Okay, please let me know if you can hear the video. This is the wow factor, I think. I like to call it that. Let's check. So that is okay, cool. Okay. Onto the more wow side of what is possible. Some might say proof is in the pudding. Please listen carefully and tell me what you think after, because this is an interactive piece that I want you to really engage with. Please let me know if you can hear it, because if you can't, then I'll exit the PowerPoint and I will play it separately. I know sometimes these presentations, there's a sharing option and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work as well as it should. You say it's working?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
The life of a librarian in the not so distant future. We're not talking about a world of dusty books and hushed voices, but a vibrant, technologically advanced hub of information and learning. It's a place where the boundaries of time and space blur, and the thirst for knowledge remains unquenchable. Meet the librarian, not just a keeper of books, but a gatekeeper to a universe of information. An average day begins with a quick scan of the library's systems. Advanced algorithms and artificial intelligence handle most of the administrative tasks, freeing up the librarian to focus on what really matters: the people. In this futuristic library, a librarian is not simply a custodian of knowledge, but a facilitator, a guide, and a mentor. They assist community members in navigating the vast ocean of digital resources, using advanced technology to bring information to life. Imagine guiding a student through the architectural marvels of ancient Rome using immersive virtual reality, or helping a young author publish their first ebook using cutting-edge publishing tools. The library is a bustling hub of activity. Community members stream in to use the 3D printers, creating everything from replacement parts for household items to intricate art pieces. Others gather in the e-learning zone, where they participate in global webinars or use augmented reality to learn new skills. The librarian is there, providing guidance, troubleshooting problems, and facilitating connections. They are the human touch in a high-tech world, fostering a sense of community and shared learning. In the afternoon, the librarian hosts a coding workshop for children, igniting young minds with the power of technology. Later, they moderate a virtual book club meeting, using holographic technology to bring authors and readers together from different corners of the world. As the day winds down, the librarian reviews the analytics of the day. They take note of the most used resources, peak visiting times, and community feedback, using this data to continually adapt and improve the library's services. In this futuristic library, the key points that stand out are the seamless integration of technology, the focus on community engagement, and the evolving role of the librarian. This is a library that has embraced the digital age without losing sight of its core mission: to educate, inform, and inspire. The Library of the Future is not a silent mausoleum of books, but a dynamic, interactive space that fosters learning, creativity, and community. It's a place where technology and humanity intersect, guided by the steady hand of the librarian. The future of libraries is not just about surviving in the digital age, but thriving and leading the way in a world that is ever more connected and information-rich. So, are libraries destined to be relics of the past? The answer is a resounding no. They are evolving, adapting, and embracing the future, redefining their role in our communities and our lives. And at the heart of it all, the librarian stands as a beacon of knowledge, guiding us through the digital landscape and into the future.
What did we think of that? Anybody wowed? Anybody taking notes? Anybody found anything it said to be false or challenging as far as okay, I know we've run out of time, so I'm going to quickly get through. For those people that can't stick around, I am sorry for the technical glitch, but for those people that are still sticking around, I will just quickly go through the rest of my slides. I've only got 4 or 5 more slides, and they don't have very heavy notes attached to them. What if I told you that that whole video was AI? That I simply asked it a question, I applied some rules, and it produced all of that. It produced the script, it produced the voice, it produced the actual video. As you can see, there was watermarks over the video because it has collected the video from across everything that's accessible. Most of it you can see Shutterstock, etc. What will happen with that is, if you like the video, you can go and get the licensing, and through the programs it'll allow it, where you can actually go and access, you can pay for the video snippet that it collected. So as I said, I prompted it, it wrote the script, and there's a little descriptor of what it would do to create the script. It then converted the script into voice, and while it was converting the script into voice and picking the voice, the tone, the presenter, it was also splicing together through metadata what videos would be relevant to what is being scripted. Yes, and that is just one of the many tools that you have access to, and is actually free. So yeah, there is no limits, even paywalls and stuff, to be able to access this stuff. Okay, so just here's some of the examples. I'm not going to go through all of it, but you can screen grab it if you want. These are just some of the useful tools. It doesn't even include ChatGPT from what I can see, or Bing, or any of those kinds of things. These are corporate tools, but like with Vortex, etc., some of them are free to play with. Most of them have a small entry into what they are capable of, and then there is additional resources or tools that you can unlock if payments paid for. Okay, move on to the next thing. So quickly, I was going to do a exercise where we play around with ChatGPT, but now's a good time to probably advertise that we are covering ChatGPT in or AI in South African Library Week. So we will have more time to be able to play around and look at, if you haven't done it already, at how to use ChatGPT in your day-to-day. One of the things to acknowledge, and again, this is points that have been brought up previously, is that speak to it as an individual, as a human, as a design team when asking it questions. So these are kind of the steps that you would follow generally. Again, you can take a screen grab of it if you want. Is where is it going? Where is the result going? Is it going to be placed in an email, or is it an email that you're correcting? Is it going to be a long form article? Even in that, there are sub categories within articles where maybe you want bullet points, maybe you want breakdown as in a introduction, main body, and a conclusion, those kinds of things, or blogs. We use it a lot for our social media, where it will even add in emotional like rockets and faces and things into the comments that you'll copy and paste into your social media, and even hashtags of relevant topics that it can be searched for. So then who is your audience? Again, if we're doing Facebook, it'll be different. If it's Twitter, etc. If you're doing it to internal, external, you may want to put what that is. Then there is the why. So messaging, what is it that you're trying to get across? The how, again, tone, language. How is it that you wanted? I said it kind of in the where, but the how is pace, for example, is also a great example when it goes from voice to, from text to voice. You want to know that kind of thing. And then what? Your call to action. What do you want them to do after that all of that has happened? Do they want to go away with that information and share it with other people? Do they want to engage and support more of what you're offering? Those are all things that you that add value to why you do what you do, and having people come back to the context and information that you are adding to people's lives. Okay, like I said, we would have done the demo and we would have done ChatGPT stuff. I do advise you guys go and try it out. It's really easy. Talk to it like a human. So from the warning side of things, as I said there, it takes a village, and people cringe at that because we're talking about humans normally when we say it takes a village. But ChatGPT is learning by how we interact with it. And I've heard somebody say before that be nice. Ask it politely. Try be clear. If it gives you something that it maybe isn't what you requested, think of it as something that is learning. So if you were to engage with a child, maybe it misunderstood, or maybe it's only saying what it's heard. It's repeating, regurgitating what it's heard. So maybe you want to ask it in a different way. Maybe it's something that you don't have clarity when it comes to, like you don't have an understanding. Maybe the word that you are using, going, please tell me how I could better ask this question, or something like that, and it will even help you, and you can do the backwards and forwards. Misinformation, yes, again, it's been learning from other people and other data sets. So sometimes the information is incorrect. So don't rely purely on it. It's a great tool to help you go in a certain direction. But again, you do need to get second and third validations for the information that is being provided. Biases, like I said, there are teams now in other AI systems that are put together specifically to assist the robot in understanding what is the correct way of answering things, where maybe there is a a race issue, for example, or anything like that, where there isn't enough of a representation within a certain group of people, which is now being corrected within these teams. It doesn't help for ChatGPT 3.5, but it will help for Bing and help for some of the other tools that we mentioned previously. Lack of understanding, again, help it out. What maybe you don't understand what you're asking it, or maybe it doesn't understand, and somewhere in the middle you will assist each. You will both know. Inappropriate content. There is limitations to the AI. There have been guards put up as far as what it can answer or what images it can produce, and that is to protect obviously children and anybody else that may be using it, that they're not triggered, and also that they're not badly influencing the outcomes of the product, the end product. Privacy concerns. There are companies like banks and things that are using AI, but they've signed in agreements to do it in an intranet, so that it's the information that is shared. For example, if there is, if it's a coding company, for example, IT company and stuff, that if there are solutions that are created for their specific problem, it's not shared out to the world, that they still own the creative licensing for that. So yes, and also personal information is something people have warned, don't necessarily, even though it's a computer, don't give out personal information and stuff like that. But yes, it's unlikely that somebody's going to ask a question where it's going to spit out your address and phone number, but it's not something that you really want to do. Over-reliance on AI, yes. Ask it a question and then go and do the research for yourself. Don't rely on it giving you everything parrot fashion. And there are programs for ChatGPT, etc., where if you write a article or a paper, if it's generated by the AI, you can ask it when the professor or whoever's signing the marking the thing puts it into the chat box. You can ask it, did you write this? And the AI will respond with yes, if it has written most of it. So other than the normal checks, and there are additional programs that can do a similar kind of thing, you can actually just throw it back into ChatGPT and ask it, and it will respond. And then ethical considerations, like I said, there are ways to curb it, but it may misrepresent certain groups of people, and advanced chatbots are curbing that. Cool. So yeah, just end off from the dark and gloomy to a more positive outlook. So unlocking the power of AI and ChatGPT heralds a future where boundless innovation meets limitless possibilities, empowering humanity to reimagine, create, and connect in ways once thought impossible. And a perfect example is going back to that video now, where maybe some people haven't thought about, where technology is at the moment and where our libraries could be. And that video would be the perfect example to go, we didn't know how to bring it all together, but the AI has done such a great job, and let's go from there. That's our launching pad to look ahead to new technologies. Thank you again. Hope to see you all at the SA Library Week, 18th to the 20th. We haven't worked out, we'll basically keep an eye on our social media, because we will release when the ChatGPT or the AI presentation will be. And yes, considering we've now launched this part of it, what I will do in that is allow more time to experiment, to show you some of the limitations and how it can be applied to anything from writing an email to writing a paper or getting a synopsis of a book that you may be interested in reading. So sorry again for the 12 minutes, I think we 12, 13 or so minutes late. Just quickly before we close off, anybody have any questions they want to ask, anything they want to add? I'm glad that there has been a communication in the chat And there have been some suggestions for other softwares. I mean, yeah, that's great. I haven't played with some of them, like the Patel site, etc. Yeah, site, etc. So I will go and look at that. Yes. Is any hands up? No thumbs up? No questions that need to be asked? I see there's one new message at the bottom here. Sure. So what I will try do is, okay, so yes, it's recorded. I may need to just do some editing to cut it down and also just to compress it. And then I will either place it on our YouTube channel for limited group, or I will share it on a shared drive, Gmail drive, Google Drive, for a limited time as well, just for you guys to access and be able to watch again. I know there's a lot of information I tried to cram in, but I wanted a coverage from beginning to end. Again, we didn't cover half as much as what's out there as far as image generation. We kind of touched on video generation, but I didn't show you the prompt that I used or the program and how that works. So yeah, there's lots of opportunity. Go out and experiment. It's all part of the learning curve. And I'm hoping to see some great things come out of you. The software that was used throughout this presentation was ChatGPT, InVideo, and what else? Oh, and obviously Canva. All of these things, all this information that is here is free. All the software and stuff is free. And just as a, another wow factor, all of this was generated by AI. As in, I have the script, I prompted ChatGPT saying, this is what I want to achieve, this is my audience, and it gave me all the content. It didn't produce the slides, but it created all the content that I could build from. It even had some very technical stuff, which I avoided, which is to do with your metadata management, etc., within your libraries. But hey, maybe that's for a future course where we look at how to streamline that, or see if it's built into your library management systems. I know some of ours that we provide have moved into that space. So yeah, it'd be interesting to have that conversation with you guys in the future. Thank you again for participating. Thank you again for the great turnout. Excited to explore this and to use more and more of this going forward. Thanks again, guys, and see you soon.